injury attorneys at The Advocates can't actually prevent you from being in a cycling accident, they will be by your side to support you following your accident. Our legal services won't cost you a dime out of pocket, so when you need an injury attorney, call us. We're The Advocates, your Utah personal injury attorneys. You didn't deserve to be in an accident, but you do deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, the Monty Show, live on your YouTube machine. Welcome back. Where have you guys been? We've been here chilling in the cut for the last week, all by ourselves.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you guys did a show once in a while.
Yeah. Are you kidding me right now? As always, we are presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. You know, you guys, one of the emerging trends this summer has been dogs biting people. Why? Have you been watching the news? Dog attacks are on the rise. You get bit by a dog, that wasn't your fault. Your neighbor should have kept the gate locked. But that's why you get to The Advocates, theadvocates.com. When you're injured and you've been in a wreck or you've gotten hit by a car when you're riding your bicycle, please give motorcycles and bicycles more room. Please keep your dogs under lock and key. But if the worst happens, be ready. Get to theadvocates.com, or you can chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Why?
I don't know. Pretty average to be back with you this morning. Got to be honest with you. A week ago, I was asleep in Hawaii, which was far better than being here. Admittedly,
You know,
we have to talk about which Hawaiian island is the best Hawaiian island. We will do that. We may have missed something related to old people arguing with each other.
right.
We'll get to that later in the show, but a wild night, a wild couple of days in NBA free agency. Man, it is remarkable to me. The money, and I don't know if you guys saw this deal, the money that Paul George got overnight. This is a mistake. It is not a mistake. No, it is not. But you're going to pay Paul George over $50 million a year for 4 years when he's 34 years old. Yes, he's still an elite shooter, and I have evangelized for, Paul George as there is a huge spider crawling on our light. We're all going to die. But my point is,
Yeah.
I've evangelized for Paul George being one of the best mid-range players in the NBA. I have told you I think he is an elite shooter, but he's 34 years old. He's a guy that misses a lot of games. Are you comfortable paying him north of $50 million a season? I am not. I think this is, I'm not going to say desperate, but this very clearly is Philadelphia going all in. This is an ass load of money. Are you surprised at the money?
Well, I'm not necessarily surprised from the standpoint of that's what it was going to take to get him. Obviously Paul was, a guy in free agency who was looking for a max, and he's good enough to get a max. And, we all know how the NBA works when it comes to paying these guys. So am I surprised from the money? Am I surprised about the money itself? No, not particularly. But I think for the Sixers, the thing that's plagued them over the last 5 years with these, star players, guys who are as good as Paul George is their availability, like you said, and their willingness to do what it takes to go on a deep run through the East. And, obviously it's not fair to discredit or hate on this Paul George deal because of what happened with, James Harden and that whole situation, because we obviously all know that James Harden is a guy that that loves to get his money and then, tends to leave organizations pretty quickly. But I think that the difference here is that, yeah, Paul George has to prove that at the end of the year, when you're trying to go on a deep playoff run, he can stay healthy, because everybody remembers the infamous, Paul George experience against the Utah Jazz in 2021. We remember that Paul George absolutely torched that playoff Jazz team. And that's what I think ultimately got him this kind of deal. People remember, hey, this is somebody who is capable of 30 plus every single night in a playoff game. And the 76ers need more of that. But I would agree. There's got to be big concerns around availability when you look at their roster in totality. Like, it's not as though Joel Embiid is some bulletproof player. Now, he's been better, certainly. He's been more consistent with his availability. And obviously, when he's healthy, I still maintain he is the absolute best big in the league because of the way he plays the game. But again, would anybody be surprised if in May of 2025, we're sitting here talking about how Joel's back hurts and, Paul's knee hurts and it's Tyrese Maxey and everybody else, right? Like, I wouldn't even be a little bit surprised, dude. Like, that's what it's been.
I don't know about that. I'm more worried about the fact that you are giving Paul George, 212 over 4 years is like $52.7 million, like $53 million. I mean, you're giving him $53 million a year. You're not going to have a lot of flexibility. And I think Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid are fine. But you know what the real truth in this is? You're not better than the Knicks. And right now, after the Mikal Bridges trade, now the Knicks also gave up an incredible amount of assets to get Mikal Bridges. But I think the Knicks are now a better defensive team than the Boston Celtics are. And we can sit here and we can talk about Paul George, but the bottom line is you are far more dynamic with the Knicks than you are with the Sixers or the Celtics, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of business left for the Knicks to do. I think the Hartenstein situation, I think trying to round out that roster, but when you look at man for man and you look at the defensive tenacity that exists now in the Garden, I don't know how you don't look at the Knicks and say that they're the best defensive team in the East, because I don't know that it's close. Can the Celtics bring everybody back? We'll find out. But when I look at Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, obviously Mikal Bridges, they match up excessively well, extremely well, unbelievably well with the Boston Celtics. And I look at the Sixers. I don't trust those guys to stay healthy. I don't trust Paul George to play 70 games. I don't trust Joel Embiid to play 70 games. And you're paying a lot of money for those guys, and they're not going to be on the floor. I know for a fact that Jalen Brunson, I know for a fact that Hart, DiVincenzo, Mikal Bridges, those guys want to play 80 games a year. Those guys want to battle. Those guys want to hold you down. They can now win. Understand this. The New York Knicks can now win games scoring 95 points. That's a big difference. There's not a team in the West or the East that is better defensively, in my opinion, than the New York Knicks are now that you've added Mikal Bridges. And you did it at a very reasonable number. I think this has been a huge win for the Knicks. I think this was a big move with Mikal Bridges. And I look at this Paul George contract, I don't think it makes him the best team in the East.
No, I don't think it makes him the best team in the East, but I do think it turns the East. When you look at the Bridges situation with the Knicks, you look at this Paul George deal, obviously the Celtics, it does make the East deeper. There's no question about it. I feel like the East now is a conference where you've got, 4 legitimate teams, assuming, Milwaukee's around. You always have to throw them in there because they have Giannis, but you have 4 teams that can legitimately go out and contend for a title. And I think that is what the not only the NBA needs, but the East needed it. Because I still maintain the East is the weaker of the 2 conferences, but this free agency period has certainly improved upon that. It's certainly, kind of leveled the playing field a little bit. So I think the only question that's left is out west, like, what are the Lakers going to do? What are, where do the Dallas Mavericks go from here? Because everyone wants to talk about Klay Thompson and the Dallas Mavericks. But what I'm talking about is Derrick Jones Jr. left that team, and he was a big part of what they were doing. So I look out west and I see some teams that have a lot of question marks. And I look out east and I'm like, hey, the Eastern Conference teams have basically solidified themselves and are ready to go. So the only question is, who's it going to be out of the West this time?
The Clippers are interesting. I mean, the Kevin Porter Jr. deal, obviously, the Derrick Jones Jr. deal, obviously. I mean, you're not replacing Paul George with Kevin Porter Jr.
Right.
But I mean, you brought in more talent there. I just look at the Sixers adding Eric Gordon, the Sixers adding Andre Drummond, Kelly Oubre Jr. Like, those are not, in my opinion, championship moves. The Clippers are all in on winning a championship. They're going to spend their bread. They're going into a new building. Like, they're going to be in the luxury tax. If we're talking about strictly West, I look at the Lakers and you've got to close a free agent here.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to close a free agent. There's no doubt in my mind. When I look at Klay Thompson, he is a guy that you have to have on that team. I think if you're the Lakers and you don't get Klay Thompson, and it's this neat feel-good story that the NBA made sure that Bronny was, drafted by the Lakers, and, everybody's all boned over that. That's great. That doesn't help them win a championship. The Lakers are not today closer to a championship than they were before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people forget that. I look at Klay Thompson. He makes them a better team. You have the foundational pieces. All of these stories being written about where LeBron James is going to sign next. Yeah, they just drafted his son with the Lakers, and he's going anywhere but there. Stop. It is just such a waste of space on the interwebs, right? Like, let's stop writing those stories. What I'm telling you is, LeBron is going to take less money, regardless of what Kendrick Perkins says, who, again, why is he employed as an NBA analyst? I don't know. LeBron's going to take less money to make sure that he gets Klay Thompson.
Right.
And if you didn't hear the news, the first call that Klay Thompson got in free agency, LeBron James. The first call. Right at 6:00. The first call to Klay Thompson was not the Mavericks, was not, Rob Pelinka. It was LeBron James. So if you're Klay Thompson, are you really saying no to LeBron James to go and sign with the Dallas Mavericks? No, you're not. Sorry. You're not. To go and be relevant in Dallas, or to be part of the reason where the Lakers, who your father played for, Klay Thompson's dad played for them, do you really think he's going to pass on that opportunity? It'd be stunning.
Well, and I think for Klay, like, obviously, he's been a Warrior his entire career. And I think when you look at Klay Thompson as a player, he obviously fits in extremely well with LeBron James's game and how he goes about playing basketball. And I think that, when you look at the bubble championship for the Lakers, why did they win that championship? Because they had KCP knocking it down from three on a regular basis through that entire series. And I think if I'm Klay Thompson, that's what I'm looking at. I'm saying, hey, like, why would we not try to recreate what you guys did in the bubble? Like, except I'm going to be a better version of what KCP was, because Klay Thompson's best, in my opinion, is better than KCP. And I don't care that KCP just got a massive deal, right?
From Orlando,
right? So, like, Klay Thompson, he's obviously not the defender he was pre-ACL, right? But I think that ultimately Klay Thompson is someone who could go to Los Angeles and he can help put them over the top. And I love the fact that we're getting the reporting, over the weekend that the Lakers are prioritizing Reeves over D'Lo, because Reeves is the younger guy. He's the better defender. He's more pliable within their roster. So, like, I think that Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss are doing a good job of evaluating the roster. But ultimately, you have to go out, like you said, and get this deal done. You can't have another situation this offseason where you had someone in the palm of your hand, You had the ability to go and close them, and then you just weren't willing to pay them what it was going to take to get the deal done. And yes, LeBron obviously is the X factor here. Obviously, he opted out so he could give up money. Is he willing to give up enough money to get Klay Thompson? I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, he's willing to do that, mainly because LeBron James is a billionaire and doesn't really need the money, right? Obviously, what he needs is a championship. This is the Tom Brady discussion all over again. So I'm just saying that don't be surprised if Klay goes to the Lakers. I would be shocked if Klay Thompson went and played for the Dallas Mavericks. I have to agree, the Dallas Mavericks feel like too far of a step down from where you were with the Warriors if you're Klay Thompson.
Yeah, we'll see. I think there are a lot of names floating around. I think it'll be very interesting to see what the Lakers do and because I think you have to get Klay on a mid-level exception, and then I think you have to go and make a deal. And it'll be interesting to see how Rob Pelinka shapes this roster, because they're not good enough right now to win a championship. They're not close.
Right.
You need a finisher. You need somebody. Klay Thompson would be, obviously, the best three-point shooter, that the Lakers have had with LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Very clearly. Is he enough on his own with the group that is there? If it is D'Lo, if it is Austin Reeves, if it is Klay Thompson, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Dalton Connect, is that group good enough? I think they're close. I think that's a midseason trade away from winning a championship.
Well, I think if you get Klay Thompson, the Dalton Connect contribution becomes much better. So if you have Klay Thompson in your starting five, and somehow, some way you can swing it where Dalton Connect is your sixth man, because that's what I'd like to see them do with Dalton Connect starting out in his rookie season. I'd like to see them bring him off the bench as their sixth man, come in and get buckets. That's all I'm going to ask you to do, because that's what you showed us you can do. You have a great skill set. You're a pretty good defender. Come off the bench with the second unit and give us those, because the other thing the Lakers need is somebody to spell them when LeBron's not on the floor. So there obviously are different ways you could go about that. You could take LeBron off, keep AD and Klay on, bring Dalton Connect in. Like, okay, there are options here, but yeah, Bronny, right? Like LaPops is on the bench, Bronny comes in, and we're good to go. No, that's not going to happen. I'm not sure that Bronny is going to be on that roster full time. Like, I would not be surprised.
Man, I'd be shocked if he spent a second in the G.
I don't know that I would be. I think that you drafted him, and now we need to see him, continue to put the work in and get to a place where he can actually contribute, even if it's for 10 minutes a night.
I would be really surprised.
What's the best for Bronny in his rookie season? Because I do think that the Bronny conversation, while it is secondary today because of the Paul George stuff, I do think it is a really interesting thing that we haven't really seen in the league before. Like, obviously, Bron and Bronny had this plan. We're not surprised by any of this. But I think now the conversation shifts to, what does Bronny's path look like? Because what's going to happen here is you're on the Lakers. Bron's got like 3, maybe 4 years left at most. And in that time, if you think about it on rookie contracts, that's when you come into your own as a player in those first 3 to 4 seasons. You're either going to get that second contract, or you're going to turn into a guy that bounces around the league. So if you're Bronny, like, is this somebody who's going to get, even 10 minutes a night in his rookie season? Because I don't think that's guaranteed.
I don't think it's about playing time. I think it's about being on the floor at the same time with LeBron. That's what this is about. And I think that is all this has been about. I can't believe that we see him in the G League. I would be stunned by that. I just would be. I think the Lakers, in my opinion, and whether or not the GM is able to pull off a Klay Thompson deal, LeCaps, over the hill, the old man. We get it. If LeBron James,
AARP.
if LeBron James is able to bring in Klay Thompson,
Yeah,
and they get that deal done, and I think he will, because Klay, I think, and I know everybody's making this point, Klay Thompson isn't chasing money. Klay Thompson is chasing redemption.
yeah.
Klay Thompson is chasing a chance to win a championship and a chance to say, I was one of the reasons the Warriors won. And I think right now he feels like his legacy is tied to Steph Curry and Draymond Green, who I think largely get more credit than Klay does. I think Klay wants to win a championship, which is why I don't think you're not going to Dallas. I mean, Luka showed you with that fat ass that he is not a championship caliber player.
Well, and I think that I have faith that Klay recognizes that. Like, you don't go from playing with, again, Steph, a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it, and Dre and Kevin Durant at one point, obviously. You don't go from playing with that caliber of talent and that caliber of guy to playing with a guy in Luka who clearly isn't there yet. I mean, obviously had his first opportunity this past season to win a championship. It didn't work out, which is fine. He's still young, plenty of time. But I don't know. Luka and Klay doesn't seem like a fit. It just, to me, it just doesn't, like, you say that pairing and you're like, yeah, that doesn't really feel like a great fit. Oh, LeBron James and Klay Thompson? Yeah, that feels like a fit. Right? Like that makes sense.
But again, this is what I say about Mikal Bridges and the Knicks. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It works. It's a fit. They're going to win a championship with that group. Like, you can see all of that with the Knicks.
Well, I think the Bridges thing too also, because a lot of people were like, oh, well, you know, can they stay healthy? And I'm like, yeah, I do think they'll have a better chance of staying healthy because they have another guy in the starting five that now can truly contribute. Like, you're not relying on, you know, Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle to come through and stay healthy the whole season. Like, you're not relying on, you know, just those three guys to carry you now. Like, the idea that you've got these four guys back, why are you sighing? They got hurt at the end of the year. You're not getting away from that. You lost to Indiana because you were hurt.
No, you lost to Indiana because you were relying on Bojan Bagsnatchevich. Right? Like, that's why this Knick team, it's different. This group does not rely on, and this is the Isaiah Hartenstein conversation. You're not relying on those guys. And I think the other guy that's a free agent that nobody's talking about for the Lakers, who's a Southern California guy, who is desperate to win a championship by all accounts, is DeMar DeRozan. You put DeMar DeRozan on the Lakers, it's Mikal Bridges on the Knicks. It's a great fit. Those are guys that play high volume games. DeMar, I think, has averaged 74 games a year in his time with the Bulls.
Yeah, he's durable. No doubt.
Right? So you talk about injuries. I agree that you build rosters with durability in mind. The Knicks had a bunch of players that were never counted on to be healthy. That's the reality of it. There's not a Mitchell Robinson. The only thing he's done is get hurt. That's it. DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, like, those guys, to me, those guys will be there. What happened with Jalen was a freak injury. It's guys like Donovan Mitchell. Why the Knicks, in my opinion, are better off with Mikal Bridges and Donovan Mitchell is simply because Mikal Bridges is a better defender, and he's a guy who plays high-volume games.
Yeah.
Like, the Knicks, that's a great fit. DeMar DeRozan with the Lakers is a great fit. Klay Thompson with the Lakers is a great fit. Go sign those guys, go trade D'Angelo Russell, and go compete for a championship. That's the pathway forward. The truth is, the Dallas Mavericks are not a good organization. The Dallas Mavericks are not built to win. The Dallas Mavericks, until Luka changes his game, the Mavericks are who they are. You can put anybody you want in there. He's going to go 1-on-4 multiple times.
Facts.
And they're going to lose.
And he's not going to play defense.
And they're going to lose. And he's not going to have the stamina to get up and down. And he's not going to have the stamina to consistently shoot three-pointers. He's going to go cold. Like, the Mavericks are not a championship organization. The Lakers are. You don't have to like that. But you better embrace the fact the Lakers are a championship organization. The Knicks, in my opinion, are not. That's a team that's got to prove that they can win a championship. The Lakers are proven. The Clippers are not a championship organization. The Lakers are proven.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Celtics, who just won again. Now they're proven again to be a championship organization. The Philadelphia 76ers are not.
Yeah.
It's as simple as it can be. As simple as it can be. All right.
And I still maintain the Bucks are sitting here watching all this happen, realizing they made a mistake with Dame.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Giannis is. Like, if you're Giannis, are you not sitting here saying, what are we doing? Like, at some point, are we not going to get someone?
But you slurp Dame. Like, I mean, you partake in throat stretching exercises over Damian Lillard.
Bro, you just rolled out throat stretching.
What?
Dude, throat stretching, it's only Monday.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
No, I'm not wrong. You love you some Dame. And I get it. I'm sure the flavor is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm telling you is Damian Lillard was not the problem in Milwaukee. It's, again, are the Milwaukee Bucks a championship organization? No, they're not. No, they're not.
Okay, so how do you define that then? Because obviously they have
Teams that make good moves every year and they compete for championships. That's not the Milwaukee Bucks. That's not the LA Clippers. That's not the Dallas Mavericks. It's not. Oh,
Are
but
the
Monty and the Mavericks have a championship. Cool. So do the Bucks.
Yeah.
Are the Chicago Bulls a championship organization?
No.
Oh, but Monty, they have like those 6 championships. Cool. Nothing before that and nothing after that. They're not a championship organization. This is not rocket science. The NBA, and this is why I love the NBA, because those that have the money don't win championships. Mark Cuban's got all the money in the world.
What do you think about, while we're talking about championship organizations, this Spurs situation with Chris Paul? Because I don't know what to make of this, because you know that Chris Paul is not going to play a lot of games there, right? Like, obviously, if you're Chris Paul, you're not going to bust your ass to play 80 games in San Antonio with where they're at right now. But I do like the Chris Paul to Wemby idea. That's good basketball. X's and O's wise, that works.
I think you need somebody who can teach Victor Wembanyama how to play basketball.
Right.
Because of all the great things Victor did last year, he clearly, and still I think most people would agree, he hasn't learned how to compete and how to be a professional yet at the NBA level. He needs somebody to teach him that.
Yeah, it was very apparent that Victor could put up numbers, but those numbers weren't impactful on the game. And that's what he's got to change. He's got to figure out, okay, how does my, 25 and 15 or better, because I do think he's still got a ton more upside, he'll realize. But, how does my contribution help my team win? Because again, it's the great debate in the NBA. You look around, the league, like the Houston Rockets, all those dudes, or any team that doesn't win a lot but's got some talent. Those guys can fill up. Charlotte with LaMelo Ball, perfect example. Hey, you can fill it up and you can break off Drew Holiday and all this in the regular season, but it doesn't really lead to wins. It doesn't do anything. And I think that's what Victor has to figure out.
Luka Doncic.
Yeah, Luka Doncic, right?
Puts up tons of numbers, but doesn't win games. And Mavericks fans who have routinely been on this show, we've talked about this, dude. Luka Doncic is a really talented scorer of the basketball. He got embarrassed defensively, and they can't compete for a championship. The West, in my opinion, was uniquely set up And I just don't see, again, I just don't see how you make the argument now that Dallas is anything but an afterthought or a fallback plan for every free agency in the NBA.
100%. 100%.
But why is that? Ask yourself this question. If Klay takes the Lakers over the Mavericks, because as I think was properly pointed out on the interwebs last night,
right?
Financially speaking, the state of Texas is a better fit than the state of California. It's much more expensive to live in Los Angeles. But Klay Thompson, in my opinion, will take the Lakers. Now, we'll see. If he takes the Mavericks, my guess is it'll be exponentially more money.
It would have to be.
Exponentially more money. That's the only thing that could, in my opinion, if they're offering you $30 million a year and the Lakers are giving you the mid-level accept, come on. Who are we kidding? That's the only reason you would sign with the Mavericks. I don't know any other reason.
Yeah, I don't know. If you're Klay Thompson, I literally think it's a downgrade to go to Dallas. Like from where you were with Steph and all of that. And obviously, the championship stuff is put behind them. Like they clearly have left that window and that's why they're moving on from Klay. But still, on a nightly basis, you're playing with, some of your best friends in life at that point. Like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are the Splash Bros. Like you don't just go from that to playing with Luka. That's not how this should go for Klay Thompson.
And if you look at the paydays, and there are like Paul George got paid and he's going to compete at the top of the East. Okay, he's on one of the three best teams in the East. Who's another guy that took money? Cantavius Caldwell-Pope.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple championships already, right? He won in Denver, won in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
He's been paid exceptionally well. He went to Orlando on a nice deal. He went to Orlando because that's a golden parachute.
Right.
Income tax, again, it's cheaper to live in Orlando than it is to live, because the Lakers would have happily taken him back. He went to Orlando because that's where the payday is.
Right.
So, in my opinion, I think you're looking at a situation with Klay Thompson where I just don't think the money means that much. I really don't think the money means that much to him. He wants to prove he's still a championship caliber player.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the deal you're talking about is the Chris Paul deal, right? I mean, you're talking about
$30 million a year.
$30 million a year, right? So, I mean, Chris Paul
in San Antonio, state of Texas.
So, Chris Paul obviously prioritizes money over winning. I mean, that's just as
at this
simple as
point in his career.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's fine. That doesn't make him a bad guy. I'm just telling you, if you're going to go to San Antonio with where they're at, you're doing it for the money, not because you want to win.
You're doing it to play 30 games, and you're doing it to pat Victor Wembanyama on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I totally get it. Yeah, we'll see.
I can just see it now. LeBron James, 8 steps to cross the entire court, only to kick it to the corner to a Hall of Fame 3-point shooter. Come on, guy.
Well, and I mean, we have Oak State James, that he graduated from Oklahoma State in 2004, letting us know LeBron's willing to take a pay cut.
James,
my guy,
bro. Quick question, dude. Are you trolling? Are you trolling with that comment?
I think
bro?
he is,
dude. If that's trolling, that's some really excellent trolling.
There it is. Matt Ritson, hello. He says, "Welcome back, Monty and Jake. We miss you." Oh no, we missed you.
Yeah,
we missed you.
Yeah. Are you going again? So my dude over here, I roll up this morning. It's first time back in a week, and obviously early morning. And I'm like, hey, Marty, how'd you sleep?
Hey, Marty,
how'd you sleep? My guy over here is like, yeah, well, I slept fine, except for the fact that I had a real gusher last night. It was pretty rough.
It wasn't last night. It was in the shower this morning.
Oh, my bad.
Get up at 4:00. Everything's great. Get in the shower. Everything's great. Take my nice warm shower.
Mm-hmm.
Wake myself up. I have a glass shower, right?
Yeah.
So I squeegee my glass every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden,
Oh, boy.
that time of the month, bro,
Dude.
just gushing. So I had to turn the water back on, and I just stood there and
Yeah. That's one of my favorite ways to deal with a bloody nose. Stand in the shower, let it run its course.
I'm just sitting here, and it's
Yeah.
running.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
And it was one of those ones, and I finally got out of the shower, and it just kept going and going and going and going.
Yeah. It's dry in Salt Lake. There's no doubt about it.
I am going to be highly annoyed.
And when you go to a moist climate like the
Moist.
Hawaiian Islands, and then you come
Moist.
back, that tends to happen.
Mike Smith, Mama, hello. Thought about Mike Smith in Hawaii, having a nice dinner, and the guy that was playing the ukulele, there was a dude doing some live music.
Mhm.
He pulled out the John Denver Mountain Mama, changed the words to Hawaii. Mrs. Monty and I are sitting there. Mrs. Marty and I are sitting there singing along. You know, is what it is.
Yeah.
Bricked up Bronny. Hello.
Bricked up
Bronny. What about the Copa America? What about it? Good to see Mexico choked on a D again.
Yeah, like what do you mean?
I love that
Copa
Mexican.
America?
I love that Mexican soccer fans are like, we're the best. You're never. You're not. Look, Chicharito.
Chicharito.
James says the one advantage that Dallas has is Texas has no state income tax.
Marty, dude,
Are you sure? It's my guy. San Diego State Glenn, get that suspect vein in your nose cauterized, Monty. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Jeremiah Champion, last week was so boring. I know. Mike Smith, Marty playing in the shower, slipped and hit his nose on the wall. And you know, so I have a nice shower. I have like a fully tiled shower, like really well done. And you're just squeegeeing the glass and you're stark naked and stuff. And you just see that blood just bounce off your nice tile after you've squeegeed,
you know,
and you got to turn the water back on.
It was at this moment that he knew.
I was so mad, dude. I was so mad. It was crazy. Mike Smith, sparks flying in the chat. Boss going off on someone again. Yeah, that was last week was
no comment.
Interesting. Shout out to Teddy. Yeah, where's Teddy Wayman at?
Teddy here today?
Teddy Wayman. No, apparently he isn't. I don't know.
Okay.
Interesting, but I will say, I want to get to this Jazz story.
Yeah.
Because the comment section, we need to hear from you guys on the comment section about this Kyle Filipowski story.
Yeah, this is real right here, bro.
Do you guys know this story? Kyle Filipowski, Duke.
Yeah, Duke is Duke and stuff. You know,
Duke is Duke,
yeah,
you prick.
Yeah.
Kyle Filipowski. Projected to go in the middle of the first round.
Now, on its face, solid pick. Good basketball player, Duke, like nothing wrong, right?
Doesn't go in the middle of the first round. Doesn't go at the end of the first round. What's going on here? Kyle Filipowski sitting in the draft green room.
Oh, now we got to go to day 2 because the draft is now 2 days.
Crash and burn there, eh, Mav? No. Crash and burn would be an understatement. He plummeted to 32nd. What happened? What happened? Well, it could be that good old Kyle Filipowski, here he is at prom with his girlfriend. Okay. He's 17 in this picture, allegedly. Allegedly, she's 25 in this picture. Okay. High-level basketball player going to Duke.
Clearly on track to go to the NBA.
Pulling some older trim. No problem, right? Well, I mean, other than the fact it is allegedly, she's 25, he's 17. Allegedly, you know, that's a crime, but who am I? Right?
Stay hard.
I mean, they're just friends.
Marty?
No, we're on the verge here too.
Are we really?
Oh yeah.
Do I need to go and do we need some
Procure?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
all right.
Anyway, so you know that this is Kyle Filipowski at prom. This is the same girl with Kyle Filipowski at Duke. Okay. So they've stuck it out now. And here they are now, no longer boyfriend and girlfriend, but instead they are now fiancé and stuff. They're like engaged. How's this sitting with everybody else? Everybody's happy for Kyle, right? Oh, wait. No, they're not. This is Daniel Filipowski on Twitter, who is, and I'll say it, allegedly Kyle's brother. I'm Kyle's oldest brother. Y'all don't have a clue of the extent of the story that has to do with his girlfriend. It's been pushed under the table for 2 years. If Jonathan Giovanni responds to my DMs, he would be able to get the full story that no one knows outside of who's involved, Duke coaching staff and his agent. Other than messaging him on IG, don't know how to get in touch with him, meaning Kyle Filipowski. But look up and read on Mormon grooming and brainwashing. And you'll find some introductory details in there to connect some dots into the story that's going on here. Here's the story. Kyle Filipowski does not speak with his family. Who are you, Patrick Reed? He does not speak with his family. And they are alleging and accusing his girlfriend, now fiance, of grooming him and indoctrinating him into the LDS church. Now, if you, such as in like ourselves,
Right,
live in the state of Utah, if you're at all familiar with the LDS community, you understand a few things. It is not irregular in any way, shape, or form to have age gaps in relationships.
right.
That is not abnormal. It is not abnormal for young people to marry older people very quickly. And once you are married, it is not abnormal in any way, shape, or form to seed the garden and sprout flowers, otherwise known as let's have some sex and make babies.
We show up.
Right? Like, it's not abnormal at all.
Right.
Which is why the Utah Jazz don't have any trouble drafting Kyle Filipowski. Yet every other team in the NBA passed on him.
Mm-hmm.
Why did every other team pass on him? According to multiple reports, and this is just Google search Kyle Filipowski.
All over the place.
He plummeted because he was asked about this woman in his pre-draft interviews, and he could not provide answers about why there was such a significant age gap and why their relationship was so dysfunctional and why it drove a wedge between him and his family.
Well, and I think that's the biggest issue, right? I think a lot of people want to say, oh, well, you know, age gap shouldn't be a reason for organizations in the NBA to be concerned. To which I say, if you really think that's the sole reason, you're lost on this. You need to understand that if you're an NBA organization and you're looking at drafting a kid who went to Duke, obviously he's got a skill set that works in the league, like very much an attractive player to draft. If you're looking into his background and you see a situation in his personal life where he's with a woman who's older than him, doesn't talk to his family, that has red flags written all over it. And
his family is openly talking about things like indoctrination, grooming. You're going to take a risk on a kid like that. You're not going to do that unless you're the Utah Jazz, who are owned and operated by a member of the LDS church. Kyle is now going to live in Utah. He is going to be surrounded by fellow LDS members. It's an easy fit for the Jazz. His relationship is not awkward in our community.
No.
Now, again, I'm not LDS. I am not a member of the church. But you live in Utah for 5 minutes and you quickly understand this is normal. This is not abnormal in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Unless you're every other team in the NBA but the Utah Jazz. And I think it is something that is very much worth paying attention to.
And I think for all the people on, Twitter who are like, oh, this isn't a story. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're just making things up. It's like, dude, why do you think that when you have the combination of, hey, this dude fell in the draft as far as he fell in the draft, and then the Jazz drafted him and tried to spin it into, no, we're good. We do deep background checks. We do, like we saw this. We're good with it. There's no issues. Well, why do you think there's not issues? Oh, that's right. Because culturally in Utah, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you, man, that just because it's cool culturally in Utah doesn't mean that there are potentially issues down the road.
He will not be asked about this by the media. It will not be, I don't believe it'll be openly talked about. Nobody here will care about it. And it's something that, will this impact the way he plays basketball? Probably not. Probably not. Will it impact him off the floor? I think it absolutely will. And that's what NBA teams are worried about. Does it change his jump shot? It probably does not. But will it bring him discomfort? Will it bring him distraction? I think it will. I don't know how you have your family so openly and honestly, his brother, his parents, like so openly and honestly talking about the fact that this woman, I mean, when you throw around words like grooming,
yeah,
and indoctrination, like that is a big, big deal.
Yeah, and the way I always like to frame this too is like, let's take the basketball side out of it. If I just told you, hey, I don't even know how old he is, 20-year-old kid or whatever, is with a 25, 26-year-old woman, doesn't talk to his family, and just got indoctrinated into the LDS church, everyone would be like, oh, well, that's kind of an issue, right? Like, this dude got tricked. This dude got groomed. This guy got trapped by this woman. But because this cat went to Duke and is an NBA caliber talent, all of a sudden it's not a problem, and we just want to write it off that he fell in the draft. And what I might add was a very light draft. Like, this wasn't like some like crazy deep, like, amazing draft. And, oh, well, Kyle just fell because, you know what, like, teams went another direction that was a little unexpected, and it was super, like, that's not what happened here.
Not at all.
And I don't understand why people won't just say, yeah, you know what? Like, the Jazz drafted him because their set of circumstances made it more comfortable for them. And because they're in Salt Lake, they don't have an issue with it. They've got, literally 2 seconds from their front door at the Delta Center, you've got a massive, the home of the church is sitting in downtown Salt Lake. And you're going to tell me that's not a factor on any level when your owner's LDS? Come on, dude.
I think he's a perfect fit here. And it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to make the team. We'll see him in summer league. Like, it'll be very interesting to see how he progresses forward. But here's the truth. They need him to be good. They need him to be good because this team, and I know everybody's going to say, oh, Monty. Well, Monty, nothing.
Yeah.
What did I think it was June 13th. We reported the Jazz are listening to offers for Lauri Markkanen. What did Woj report over the weekend?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're listening to offers. They'd like to keep him, but they're listening to offers.
And what did Woj say? It will take a truckload. So I can only sit here and tell you, I know I don't know shit about shit, but I can only sit here and tell you this Jazz team is not moving in the right direction. We can spin this stuff and we can try to storytell and be positive. And the Jazz tried to trade for Mikal Bridges. And according to our sources, we're never close. And the Nets used the Jazz offer to leverage the Knicks. And in my opinion, it's the Knicks getting back over on the Jazz. Because I think that's always going to be a rivalry now.
Mm-hmm.
After the Donovan Mitchell fallout and the inability to make that trade, I don't think the Jazz were ever close to acquiring Mikal Bridges.
Oh, and I think the Lauri's value in the market obviously is going to be high because of what he can do for a team. But I think that
on his number, his salary.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, team friendly deal for sure. And I think that this all started with the Gobert deal, right? So the Gobert deal to Minnesota set sort of this foundation. Now we've got the Bridges deal. And so now it's like Danny Ainge and the Jazz front office are sitting here saying, hey, we want this amount for Lauri Markkanen. And while I understand, and I don't even blame them for leveraging market value, I do think that with the Jazz, we're going to get to a point, and I think we're getting close to this point now, where you have to decide what direction you're going to take. And I've been saying it for a couple of months now. This team doesn't have direction. There's no like, hey, we're not, like, you haven't heard the Jazz come out and say, we're not trading Lauri Markkanen. And this is what I always try to tell Jazz fans. If they were so married to Lauri Markkanen, why has Ryan Smith not come out and said on Twitter, oh, Lauri's not going anywhere. Lauri's not going anywhere. We're not trading him. Just the same way you did with Jordan Clarkson, right? We haven't seen that. So again, my thing for the Jazz is, dude, if you are going to keep Lauri Markkanen, you need to come out and say that. And you need to extend him now. You need to get that done, because then that sends a message to the rest of the league. Hey, Lauri's not available, and the Jazz have a lot of other assets that we can look at. But they're not doing that because they're listening to offers. I'm telling you, that's what's taking place. And I don't know why Jazz fans are so resistant to this idea. Lauri Markkanen is not a 10-year player with the Utah Jazz. You're going to be lucky to have him in a Jazz uniform for 2 more years.
I think you're going to be lucky to have him in a Jazz uniform for 2 more months. Man, real quick, Woj just continues to kick the shit out of Shams, dude.
And again. Adrian
Wojnarowski breaking the news just moments ago that Tyrese Maxey has signed a $200 million extension with the Philadelphia 76ers, who are just spending that bread.
Going in, man. I mean,
yeah, they're going in. Woj is crushing Shams.
Yeah.
It is remarkable to watch.
It's just over and over again. And it's to a point where, again, with all due respect to Shams.
With all due respect.
Keep going on the Pat McAfee show. Keep going on that show, because you are becoming irrelevant just as that show is heading that same direction. And it's funny how Woj has sort of put Shams to bed, in my opinion. This free agency period, it's not just been that Woj has been like 2 minutes ahead of Shams. Like, Woj has been dominating the scene. Like, it's been Woj, and then Shams will come along like 10 minutes later and tweet something about it, to the point where Shams is tweeting. He had some crazy ass tweet about, GCU and like these, one-off deals or whatever they did in NIL, like just oddball random stuff. And I'm just telling you guys, man, like Woj is the standard. And I'm not even saying that I'm like, all in on ESPN and all that. But when it comes to free agency in the NBA, I just don't know that there's a more credible, more on point guy. Like, if you're an NBA fan, how are you not following Woj? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. The marketing thing is very interesting. It is, it is July 1st. So you essentially have 5 weeks until he can officially sign an extension. I'm really surprised that we have not heard that they have agreed to an extension. I'm really surprised by that. And the people around the Jazz I talked to have not said that one time. And I said that 2 weeks ago before vacation. And Jazz fans got all pissed. And you call it what you want. The truth is, I don't believe that their preference in my mind is not to sign Lauri Markkanen to a deal and then go try to surround him
Mhm.
with other great players. I think if the Jazz would have been able to make the Mikal Bridges deal, which they were never close to.
Right.
And I understand why Jazz fans are like, we were on the verge. You weren't on the verge. The Jazz were never in the conversation around Mikal Bridges. That was the Nets leveraging the Jazz to get more from the Knicks. Ask yourself, how often do the Nets and Knicks make trades?
Mhm.
Something nobody else is talking about, and I don't know why. Do you understand how rare that is? They're down the street essentially from each other. They don't like each other, and they just made a massive trade. The Nets set their, I'm not even sure it's arguable, their best player
Yeah.
in Mikal Bridges to the New York Knicks, which makes the Knicks a championship contender. You were never sending him to the Jazz. Never. And I say that because the Jazz have not been able to go and find another key contributor to put next to Lauri Markkanen. Part of it is, I think Danny damaged Keontae George by saying he's not a number one. I think that Ryan Smith does not want to spend in free agency. I think he does not want to add significant payroll to his roster.
Mhm.
And everything in Smith Entertainment Group land is focused on the Utah hockey team that's going to be the Yeti.
Excuse me, it's the Utah Hockey Club.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The Jazz are an afterthought right now in that portfolio. And you're seeing why. So for everybody who said that, trust me, bro, you don't have sources. For the third time,
Yeah.
Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting exactly what we reported, but weeks later. Whether it was the Rudy Gobert situation that Woj confirmed, whether it was Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz building around Donovan Mitchell, whether it was Jordan Clarkson mysteriously opting into his contract after he said goodbye to everybody in Jazz land, and now it's Lauri Markkanen. I can only tell you so many times, this team is moving in the wrong direction.
And I think the word that perfectly describes the Jazz through all those situations is dysfunctional. I think that, everyone likes to stick it to us about the Clarkson thing because we said they were going to trade him or he was going to move on or whatever, and then he didn't. And all I'm saying is that's fine. That's cool. Like you could say we were wrong about that. But if you're a Jazz fan and you're more concerned about saying we were wrong versus why Jordan Clarkson opted in, you are putting your interest in the wrong place. Because I'm telling you right now, dudes like Jordan Clarkson, who could easily go to a championship contender and compete, don't just randomly opt in for no reason. And I'm telling you, he didn't just opt in for the money. I don't buy that for a second. And there is something there. There was a conversation, I don't know, whether it was a handshake thing or I have no idea. But something happened between those two. And, I'm concerned that with Markkanen, we're heading in that direction where it's going to get messed up. And if they extend him, great. Hey, if you extend him, I'm not going to criticize you for that. I think you should extend him. I think it's the right thing to do. He should be your franchise player. You have him. He's in your room now. Like, why would you not extend him? Make him your franchise guy.
But if you're going to extend Lauri Markkanen, ask yourself, what are you willing to pay him? Because this is the other thing that I continue to hear about with Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen has significant financial value around the league.
Yeah.
Are you going to pay him $50 million a year?
That's what it's going to take. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. It's not a question of if it's max or he walks. It is max or he walks. Like, if you're Lauri, you're going to continue to play for this team on something less than a max after, to your point, right? He's on a team-friendly deal.
Why would you?
Why would you play, again, not trying to hate Jazz fans, but why would he play for the Utah Jazz when he has loads of interest around the league?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
James Stadium guy, Oak State class of 2004. If Dallas doesn't get Klay, they need to get Lauri.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I don't know how you make that deal.
Yeah, I don't think that Laura's a fit with Dallas. Sorry. That doesn't work from like a roster build standpoint.
I would agree. OG Gary, say Flip's girlfriend, I hear you like him young. You better never go to cell block 1. Okay. Andy H, why does everyone say they need to extend him now? Isn't August when they're eligible to offer him an extension? No, that's when they're officially able to sign an extension.
Yeah, get this right. Don't be confused.
I think the date is officially August 6th is when they can sign Lauri Markkanen to a contract extension. They can offer him and negotiate with him anytime they want. And usually what happens is that deal's done long before that date. But you almost always hear about that. And we have not heard word one about that. So Lauri and Paul George would have been a heck of a combo.
But again,
how are you?
Like, did you guys really think that Paul George was coming to the Jazz? Like, again, free agency. He's not going to come to the Jazz when he can go to Philly.
Why isn't Klay Thompson coming to the Jazz?
Because he's going to go to the Lakers.
Why didn't James Harden come to the Jazz? Why didn't notice that Russell Westbrook's back on the block? I mean,
why
remember
didn't Kevin Porter Jr. come to the Jazz? Oh, because he's not a fit culturally with his track record, but Kyle Filipowski is apparently.
But Jake, remember,
Jesus,
Russ wanted to play for the Jazz, and the Jazz wanted Russ to play for the Jazz. Another story that we told you, he was never going to play here. And he's like, you're not a free agent destination. You're not close to winning. You're not close to competing. So you're not going to, Paul George was never coming to Utah.
So when we talk about, well, why would you want to get the Lauri extension done now? And when I say get it done, what I mean is, hey, get in agreement with Lauri. Hey, dude, here's our offer. What do you think of it? Well, I want this or I want that, or let's massage this. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're going to get together and we're going to agree that on August 6th, this is the deal we're signing. That's how the business of the league works this time of year. So when I say get the deal done, get in agreement with them, because then once you're in agreement with them, now we can start talking about trades. But until you put the Lauri thing to bed, what is every single team that you talk to in the NBA going to ask you about first? What's it going to take to get Markkanen? Well, it's going to take at least what they got for Bridges. I'm assuming that's the answer.
The problem here is you can't go to training camp without having Lauri under contract.
Because then what happens?
All you're going to talk about is, well, are you trading him? Are you trading him? Are you trading him? Are you upset you don't have a contract? What about your contract? What about your contract?
Hey, Lauri, who are other teams you'd be interested in playing for, man?
That's all you're going to get. Brandon Butler, a crack pipe dream, Tanner. Paul George wouldn't push them over the top. PG is now a finishing piece, not the guy. I mean, he shot 41% from 3 last year. And I think, is Paul George a number 1? He's not, but he's never been a number 1.
I think he's the best number 2 in the league, though.
Depends on the fit, the setup. I mean,
well, in Philly, I mean, I think that's a pretty good fit. I think, we saw how limiting James Harden's game was when he was sat next to Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. You saw how limiting that was for all 3 of them. Paul George is not like James Harden. Paul George is someone who is a basketball guy. He's not necessarily concerned about scoring. Is he a great scorer? Yes. Is he a great 3-point shooter? Yes. But his primary objective is to win, whether that's defensively, if he's got to play make, if he's got to score. So that's what I'm telling you. He may not be a number 1 per se, but he is a damn good fit with Philly, which is why they paid him.
And why is nobody talking about the absolute failure of Kawhi and Paul George? That's over now. Like, that was a complete failure.
Do you agree with the people saying that the Clippers deserve credit for taking a run at it, though?
Yes.
Because I think they do. I think that we don't often see teams go out and try to put a pairing together and then build a roster around those 2 guys.
Yeah, I think you have to do whatever you can do.
Yeah.
The problem is, in this league, you cannot win by buying talent alone.
Yeah.
You have to be able to have the Austin Reeves, the Klay, Steph, and Dre. Like, you have to have,
Development.
Yeah, you do. Nobody leverages Ryan Smith. Nobody. He shows up. Exactly.
Right. That's why he got booed at the NHL draft. Yeah. Well, you saw that. We saw that, dude.
How, like, do you understand the kick in the nuts it's going to be when they win a Stanley Cup before an NBA championship?
And I think that's a real possibility. Like, you see all the, like, and I think it supports the point we've been making. Like, do you see all the hype around the hockey team right now? Like, oh, we drafted this guy and we signed that dude, and hey, new jerseys and everything's awesome. And let's put out a bunch of pictures of the rink installed at Delta Center. And it's like, hey, by the way, Ryan, I don't know if you're aware of this. NBA free agency's here.
Here's all the money we're spending on the hockey team, the Olympic Oval that's being rebuilt to be a practice rink and offices and the shopping mall and the draft and the Delta Center and the uniforms, as shitty as they are. Like, here's all the money. We'll look at all the draft, look at free agency. Nobody's talking about the Jazz. Nobody.
No,
Nobody
they're
is talking about the
Kyle
Jazz.
Filipowski.
No, they're not.
Romantic.
No, we're not talking about that here in the great state of Utah. There's nothing wrong with it. It's what we do. We show up.
Yeah.
We show up. Was she really? I'm curious. I need somebody to ask him if she was 25 when they went to prom. Like, I mean, at least he wasn't 15 Giddy style.
Yeah. He wasn't first team all under 15.
She was allegedly 25 years old when he was 17.
How are you good with that as a 25-year-old, dude? How is that okay?
Oof. Andy H, I think they listen to offers to see if they get a ridiculous offer. If they get no crazy offers, then Lori gets extended. Sure.
But
could be.
Is that, and I'm not even saying you're wrong. Like, that's probably what's taking place here, Andy. But is that the best way to go about it? Because I'm not sure it is. Like, would it not be better to go out, extend him, and then build the roster around him? Why are you playing? And this is, again, a point I've made so many times. The Jazz play defense as an organization. They don't play offense. So you're sitting here waiting for the league to come to you about a Lori trade when what you should be doing is taking control, right? What you should be doing is saying, hey, Danny, hey, Jay-Z, go out and build a championship contender. This is the budget you have to work with. That should be the initiative, not, well, hey, guys, let me know once we get a good offer for Lori. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like we're sitting here waiting. You did the draft, and admittedly, you had a pretty solid draft. Give them credit. Had a solid draft. Now, if you ever develop those guys, I don't know. But you had a nice draft night. But I don't know. I don't trust the organization right now to make the right decisions and to make those decisions in a timely fashion, because that's what has to happen to have success in free agency.
Yep, I agree. Let's see. Mike Smith, the hockey team is the shiny new object, 100%.
Yeah, it's a new car, no doubt.
100%. Exactly right. Andy H, we got like 7 20-year-olds on the roster and a lot of tradable vets, but we're going in the wrong direction. You're absolutely going in the wrong direction. So if you look at the Jazz, who's the young guy that you're developing?
Well, it was Keontae George, but then it seems like there's been a shift on that.
Who is the young guy you've developed? Ever. So all of a sudden, you're telling me you're going in the right direction. You have a bunch of young dudes, and you have zero history of developing young talent.
Oh, what did he say? What did he say? We got like 7 20-year-olds on the roster and a lot of tradable vets. But wait, I thought you were married to Jordan Clarkson.
But all I'm saying is take the 7 20-year-olds. Who are you developing? Your general manager, essentially your head of basketball operations, came out and said that Keontae George is not a number one. What are we doing? Like, who are you developing? Who's the young guy that you're like, oh, man?
Well, Walker Kessler.
Who is on the trade block. And this is the other thing that Jazz fans don't want to hear. Walker Kessler as I've told you for 4 months, has a dysfunctional relationship with your in over his head coach, Will Hardy. And the Jazz are willing to move Walker Kessler. So you didn't develop Walker Kessler. You're not developing Keontae George. Like, who's the young guy that you have either developed or are developing? Because you have never drafted a guy, brought him in, turned him into a star. You haven't done that. And the hard part is, as much as I think we all hated the Rudy Gobert contract, he's become a better player with the Timberwolves. Is that because he's surrounded by a lot better talent? Yeah, probably. But he's become a better player. Now, has Donovan Mitchell done anything in Cleveland? Well, no. He's gotten hurt and missed the playoffs, significant playoff time, and now allegedly got his head coach fired. And but I think you start looking at the way that this organization goes about it, and we consider and talk about 7 20-year-olds on the roster. What does that mean?
Yeah, why does that? I guess, and I'm genuinely asking you. I'm really not coming after you. I'm very curious. Why does 7 20-year-olds and some tradable vets make you feel like the organization's going in the right direction?
And at what point do you stop having capital in your account and start spending it? Like, I'm tired of the thing that annoys me so much about the Jazz. Oh, man, look at all this draft capital. Oh, man, look at all these young guys. Okay, at what point are we like, man, look at all those trophies and look at all those rings?
Look at all the all-stars on the roster that we developed.
At what point do you start turning that draft capital and that young talent into something? Because we can go all the way back to Enes Kanter. We can go all the way back to the early days of Rudy Gobert. We can go all the way back to all of these draft picks that you bring in that don't turn into anything. So I disagree with you. Once the hype around the hockey team dies down, maybe Ryan will pay more attention to the Jazz. Maybe.
I think your concept is right, but I think your focus is wrong. It's not about the hype. It's about his pocketbook. Once the NHL team is making him money and Ryan is back in a good spot, or what he deems to be a good spot, then you will see the Jazz start spending money. Until that takes place, which I think it's going to be a couple years, you won't see them spend money, in my opinion.
OG Gary, Flip's girlfriend. Now it's Flip?
I guess.
Okay. Flip's girlfriend loves music, and her favorite is probably A minor.
That's a Kendrick Lamar reference.
A minor.
Yeah. Yeah. Like nice job, Gary.
He's a minor?
Yeah.
Okay. So bad it's good. Exactly right. Calford, no, because the next Salt Lake Olympics will be the priority. Well, Ryan's heavily involved in that.
Again, another example.
Eric and Raleigh, the 20-year-olds aren't good players. They're not. Not right now. They're not. They are not. No more Pac-12 network and 7 channels off the air today. Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't know what the conversation is. Like, I saw in our members only group, everyone was talking about this. Oh, well, hey, Pac-12. Like, okay, I know that we did a lot of coverage on the Pac-12, but we knew this day was coming. I don't know what else there is to talk about with it. Like, come back to me when you actually can put together a conference that's Power 4 worthy, because I'm not doing a steroided up Mountain West back into a P5 with an AQ. We're not doing that. That's not going to happen. So until that takes place, I just don't know what the conversation is. The conversation, what it really should be, is, hey, the Big Ten's coming alive. The Big 12's coming alive. Like, these new conferences are coming into form now.
Oklahoma, did you guys see?
Like,
Oklahoma put an SEC sticker on their stadium. Let me know when you're better than Texas. Well, Texas is back, Monty.
Marty.
Well aware Texas is back. I agree. I don't understand the fascination with the Pac-12. It's been out of business. It's not going out of business today. It's been out of business.
And like everyone obsessing over, oh, well, they took all the other teams off their website. Well, did you expect them to keep them on their website?
What did you think they were going to do?
What were they going to do? Like, come on.
Yeah, I don't know what the Pac is dead officially, and America is great again.
Well played. Well played.
Stop. Now it makes sense why Mormons like basketball so much. They're trying to develop young Mormons so they can play for the Jazz. The Mormon thing doesn't work for me. Yeah. It's not a young Mormon. It's this Filipowski situation is a very different thing. You know, it is what it is. LOL. Good joke, Noel. There you go. Lee Jensen. Hello. OG Gary, rest in spaghetti, never forgetty. Okay, did you smoke crack this morning, Gary? What are you doing?
What's going on, bud? Yeah, what's going on?
What are you doing? I don't know what you're doing. The Monty Show is always presented by our good friends at PrizePicks. PrizePicks.com, the official fantasy partner of the Monty Show. Join the community, which is now tens of millions of people deep at PrizePicks.com. Download the app. Another strong showing for Marty over the weekend. How about my guy Minwoo Lee?
Dude, got to talk about it, man. Got to talk about it.
The fact that I shot a 77 and probably should have shot a 75 yesterday or a 73 at Canyons fell apart on the last 4 holes. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Yeah, it is. And at some point, Minwoo Lee got to put one away. I mean, playing well, in contention, give him a lot of credit. He was down 3 strokes to start the day, I believe it was.
Guy, he's a rookie.
I get it. I don't care about that. Like, you're a professional golfer. You had a win on your club yesterday. You were in a position to go out and potentially get into the playoff to win the tournament. And you hit one bad iron shot to end the round, which took you out of it. And it's a conversation I want to have. It's Akshay Bhatia going full Rory McIlroy to lose the tournament. Like, golf was awesome yesterday, but it was also sad. I wanted Minwoo to win. How long have we been following Minwoo Lee? 2 years? Like, certainly since he was on the Korn Ferry Tour. He had a win. He had the chance. Great tournament. Great showing. Awesome weekend. Clearly progressing. You got to put him away, man. You got to put him away. Go ahead. Tell me how stupid I am and, wish I knew more Godfather references and, wish you had a daughter and, just roll it all out. I know what's coming.
What am I supposed to say? Again, if you would put as much time into Minwoo Lee's career arc as you do into throat stretching for Dame, he's a rookie. It's not Akshay Bhatia choking on Dame's D.
Stay hard.
Akshay Bhatia yesterday choked.
Big time.
He pulled the putt. Right.
Well, okay.
Right? He didn't, not his putt, his putt. He missed an easy putt. He missed a putt.
6-footer.
The point is, Minwoo Lee hit a ball left up against a grandstand and then missed a chip. Minwoo Lee is a rookie on the PGA Tour. And just finished, what, 3rd, I guess it was?
I think so, yeah.
Fuck out of here. No, bro. He had it on the bottom. He should have won.
He did.
Let him cook this dick.
Yeah, he did,
Get out
bro.
Of here. You're just so unreasonable. You're so unreasonable. Mm-hmm. Tanner Plummer, Marty, how good are your Longhorns going to be this year?
Marty.
Dakota Tubb. Hi, Dakota. 625. Never forget. What am I missing on?
Yeah. What are we missing, dude?
Damn. So Monty is a Longhorn fan and BYU fan and Notre Dame fan, and he's a Mormon.
Yeah, but you're the guy who likes like 100 teams, dude. What do you mean?
You are the San Jose State fan. I am not a Texas Longhorn fan. Please do not hang that.
Marty, this is a Texas show.
Look, Marty. You're asking me. And, to go to PrizePicks, Marty, PrizePicks.com, download the app, use the promo code Monty. Get 100% deposit matching up to $100 when you use a promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, Monty.
Not Marty.
Monty. Promo code Monty at prizepicks.com. Tweet at me, DM Jake on Instagram, SLC Jake, with your first Prize Picks play.
Yes.
We need to do a Prize Picks contest.
Yes, we do.
Because so many people are like, I'm better than you at Prize Picks. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Let's put your money where your mouth is. Daily fantasy on Prize Picks is amazing. San Jose State is back. Yes. San Diego State, Glenn, Willie Mays, Orlando Cepeda, rest in peace. Yes. Willie Mays. That was a tough one. I was fortunate enough to cover the San Francisco Giants and to actually meet Willie Mays on a couple of occasions. Willie McCovey as well. And Willie Mays is just a cool dude.
Hold up. I just opened the PrizePicks app, and there's a section titled Hot Dog.
Yeah.
For the hot dog eating contest.
Yes.
Dude, why am I going to do more or less on a hot dog eating contest?
Oh my God.
That doesn't involve.
Don't say you are a glizzy pounding. You are a glizzy pounding
that
machine.
Doesn't involve the greatest of all time, Joey. Hot dogs are not sandwiches, chestnut, dude. Come on.
Guy, you slam glizzies.
Dude, I'm not going on. I'm not getting involved with a competition where you're slamming meat tubes down your throat if it doesn't involve Joey Chestnut.
If it doesn't involve Damian Lillard,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Like, what are we doing, bro? Now, that said, there is one that's a gimme at half a hot dog eaten. I'm taking that one for whoever the hell Jeffrey Esper is.
Did you say Jeffrey Epstein's in the hot dog eating contest?
Oh, yeah, he's going full Lolita Express on the hot dogs, man.
Who are you, Kyle Filipowski's boyfriend?
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Did you really just almost say Jeffrey Epstein?
I did. I did. No, but really, there is a discount for Geoffrey Esper at half a hot dog eaten.
Says the guy who eats fecal matter off of rollers. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not playing your game. I'm not playing your game. Cam Harrison says, welcome back. Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Oh,
I know
I
where
like
it is,
ya.
man. I got my handle on.
Mr. Preston. Hey, Marty McFly.
Hey, Marty.
Dude, I've got to get the stupid power arm on my Jeep fixed.
And I got a power arm for you.
Bet you weren't expecting this one.
Tanner Plummer, go Spartans. San Jose State, that is. Yeah, we don't do Michigan State on this show. Don't forget off the roller. Yeah, Jake, you went to Kansas City last week.
No roller action for me, bro. Stayed away from the rollers.
What kind of food did you eat?
Nothing crazy. I had my usual heritage flakes and granola for breakfast. Had a variety of different things for lunch. Best thing for lunch was probably Costco enchiladas that they had in Kansas City, which were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. What? They had a kid. Why are you looking at me sideways, bro?
You say stupid things routinely. I mean, it's just.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's just who you are.
That's what they do.
But today has been jam-packed with Jake's stupid quotes.
Let's ride.
I went to Kansas City, and can I tell you about the food in Kansas City? Costco had this enchilada kit.
You know.
I mean, I cannot say enough about the food in Texas, Kansas City. And let me just tell you, the best food, and the locals love it. And all the locals tell me, head over to Costco and get that enchilada.
I love you like the fat kid loves cake.
I ask you what food you had in Kansas City. I'm expecting brisket.
Hold on, bro. Like
barbecue, like all the ribs. Oh, man, enchiladas from Costco. That kit they had.
You fucking donkey.
I mean, boomer sooner, motherfucker. Let me tell you about that. We sat down at the table and built this enchilada kit. I mean, it was hotter coming out than it was going in, but that's a different story.
Look, Kyle, take it easy.
I go to Hawaii and I have fresh Ono tacos. I go to Hawaii and I have ahi.
Yeah, because you're on vacation. I wasn't on vacation, bro.
You go to Kansas City and eat at Costco. There's a Costco 5 minutes from the studio.
Yeah, there is.
You can eat there every day if you
My
want.
bad.
I mean, go. Oh my God. Anyway, Dakota Tubbs. Jake messed up. He should have gotten the chicken bake.
Oh, I have chicken bakes all the time, bro. Come on.
You do?
Not all the time, but like.
Well,
yeah,
you said
like
all
once,
the time.
Like once a month. Yeah, twice a
Okay,
month.
so you're backpedaling now.
Yeah, I mean, something like that.
OG Gary, Rick and Marty show.
Yeah.
Noel Ramirez, LOL, that long pause. Exactly. There are a lot of long pause. Them chicken enchiladas made from 100% heterosexual.
That's right. That's right, dude.
Still one of the best stories we've ever done on the show. I went to Hawaii.
Wait.
Kauai sucks. I'm just going to say it. I've been there once. I never have to go again.
Right.
Now, having said that, it was Hawaii and it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Monty and I had a great trip. Reconnected with each other physically and metaphorically speaking.
Right.
You know.
Stay hard.
We had a great trip. But let's talk about golf on Kauai.
Now, it was supposed to be what you were told, and I feel like what the expectation was is that, hey, it's Hawaii, like the course is going to be lush, like everything's going to be amazing. It's going to be similar to what we had on Oahu, but that's not what happened.
So the course was nice. The soaking rain.
Oh, soaking.
To the point where I was earthquaking. The soaking, pouring, drenching rain. Not good. Okay. That was the ocean course. That's fine. The gale force winds at Poipu, where 12 of the 18 holes were an unbelievable headwind. Not good. I won't go back to Kauai. It's beautiful. It's lush. It's green. The food is not good on Kauai. I don't know how else. Mrs. Monty took me to this tiki taco place that was outstanding. And here's the thing I don't understand about Kauai. Why are people on Kauai obsessed with Mexican food? I don't understand it. You're obsessed with Mexican food. But you want to get some good Hawaiian style, I don't know, mac salad?
Well, you know where you need to go for that.
And whoever the asshole on Kauai is that decided to take macaroni salad and mix it with potato salad and spaghetti, long like spaghetti noodles, and call that mac salad?
No, dude, come on.
You're a terrible person.
How do you mess up mac salad, bro? Like, come on.
And I understand 2 people to go out to eat in Hawaii is $100.
Yeah.
That's what the pricing is now. But the food was just really average. Like, I was really surprised. Food on Kona, outstanding. On Maui, outstanding.
Yeah.
Food on Kauai, weather on Kauai,
yeah.
Driving on Kauai. Okay, so we're on our way back from Guelph on Thursday. On Kauai, there's one road to get you. We stayed in a little area called Princeville. There's one road to get you from the west side to the east side of Kauai.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, a van had to flip over. And we sat in a traffic jam for an hour and a half. Not going back to Kauai. Not doing it. Now, the fact that my wife sang me the Bali High song was amazing. The boat cruise, the snorkel boat we went on, they took us into a cave on a boat. It was amazing. We saw great fish. It was amazing. Saw great dolphins. Amazing. But Kauai is not my island. It is small. it is wet, and it is green.
Yeah.
And if you're old and you don't want you don't want great entertainment, food, golf, shopping on Kauai sucks.
Yeah, it sounds like from what you're saying, it's more of like a wilderness island, more of like,
It is.
hey, if you want to hike and you want to do that type of thing.
It is. And my wife, I am not a fan of hiking.
Yeah.
I hate walking uphill. Period. That's it. That's all you need to know. And my wife loves to hike. And I'm sure hiking on Kauai is great, but yeah, I'm just not. Yeah, I'm not. That's not my. I am a Maui, Kona, Oahu guy. Done.
Yeah.
And it's Maui. I'm excited to go. So we own with Weston, Bonvoy, Marriott Weston. I am excited to go back to Maui. I am excited we're going to the Newport Coast for Christmas this year to play Pelican Hill, and a lot of good stuff coming up. I'm excited. I need to go to Japan. I need to go to Europe. I need to go. There's other places in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Team Chicken Enchilada made 100% from Heather. Yes. Noel Ramirez, 100% says Jake buys those tamales that come in a can.
Nah.
Yeah, he does.
No, I don't.
Yeah, and he
I'm
gifts
not
them.
that. I'm not that terrible.
He regifts them. If Casey is known for anything, it's Costco cuisine. Exactly. Jake, it sounds like you're going to have a brother. I don't know about that.
I don't understand that reference.
The quote, soaking rain. Exactly right.
Right.
In the Filipowski house.
Right. And flips.
I bet $100 Jake buys those tamales that come in a can. Okay.
And we get it.
We get it. Calford, yep, it's rainy and windy in Kauai. Not for me. There is no good Hawaiian mac salad. Tasteless garbage is what it is. That's not true.
I just don't understand who thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and make mac salad with spaghetti.
And why are you mixing it with potato salad?
Like,
why? I don't understand.
Like the best mac salad is made with elbows. We all know that.
Why? Kauai, it's a tax write-off. You'll be fine, money, right? Noel Ramirez, damn, spending all that money to visit a place and not end up. I didn't hate it.
I mean, there's obviously a foundation, like a low water mark that is, hey, it's Hawaii, it's pretty, you're on vacation. Like, obviously you enjoy it, but it's not like, when you've been to Maui, when you've played, great courses, Oahu, obviously, like you expect a certain level. And
I will say the course at Poipu was amazing. The wind just ruined it. Ruined it.
Yeah.
Some of the good things, the snorkel boat was cool. We found a bakery called Orly Bakery. The resort in Princeville we stayed at had this Lilikoi cheesecake that we had like 2-3 times. It was awesome. And we went to that bakery and it was amazing. You want to know what the funny thing is? The best cannoli I've had in probably a decade, Kauai. Had amazing cannoli at this bakery. Amazing. Best I've had in years at this bakery. It was awesome. So there were things to like. The weather is not one of them. Calford, the multi-day hike through the canyon is no joke, dude.
I'm just not that committed to hiking, dude. I'm sorry.
Like, I don't understand the people that want to. There's a hike on Kauai where you hike the shoreline and it's on cliffs. And nah, bro, I'm good. I'm not doing that. John Hamm. Sorry, Monty said they reconnected physically. Fail wordplay for me. Well, I take North Shore. My brother has a house there. I think. Listen, Oahu is great.
Yeah.
And Honolulu was again named one of the best cities to live in. Oahu has excellent golf. Excellent golf. I really want to go back and play Turtle Bay again when I'm not rushed through it.
But again, weather, right? When we went and played Turtle Bay, it was pouring rain. And when we were physically playing on the course, it wasn't raining, but it had been raining all day and pouring. So the course was just terribly wet. Like it just ruins it. And I might also add at Turtle Bay, it is a little confusing getting out to the first tee. Like, it's quite the drive and, show to get out there. So, I think Turtle Bay is worth it to play it again, but
Poipu Poipu's one of the best golf setups I've ever been part of. The practice, the funny thing at Poipu was I had the best warm-up session I've ever had. Ever. Pured every iron, pured every driver. It was amazing. Got up on the first tee, hit what easily was a 330-yard drive. It was awesome. And then the wind showed up, and I hit a four-wood, a PXG four-wood, and I pured that thing into a headwind that was so strong, the ball went 100 yards. It went right into the headwind and went straight up in the air. It was the craziest wind I've ever been part of. Fat Jesus says, I love to hike to the top of a mountain, only I do it in a car.
That's
exactly.
Right. See, that's right.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right. And now the part of the show that I hesitate to get to.
Marty.
So, about that debate last week.
So, you know how this works on the show. We're not getting into policy. We're not getting into the details of the debate. We're not getting into who's the better candidate. Like, I'm not interested in the, I'm not interested. Save the drama, take it to another show. But what I am interested in is just how poor of a situation we find ourselves in as citizens of this country right now.
Seriously.
Like, it's really interesting. Like, most of the time, like, when we're not in presidential election season or a cycle, you don't see like throwback videos from a political standpoint, unless you go looking for them, obviously. So I don't typically go looking for those. But in my feed recently, especially on X, I've seen a lot of videos about the cordialness, the respect level of the Romney-Obama debate back in the day. I believe it was in 2012. And regardless of their politics, what really stood out to me about this debate was just the vitriol that we live in now. Like, there isn't like that inherent respect that political opposition used to have for each other in our country, where it was like McCain defending Obama in front of his constituents, saying, hey, like, we disagree politically, but he's a great human being. He's a good person. We disagree politically, good person. We don't have that anymore. And that's what really stood out to me.
Yeah.
And obviously, we have to talk about, Joe Biden's current condition. And there's no getting around it. And again, as I always say, I'm not a Biden or Trump guy. I think they're both, just garbage options to run the country. But that was embarrassing. Like, I don't know another word for it.
I am rarely hopeless. I am hopeless on politics. I just don't believe that we have. And again, if you're new here, I grew up as a hardcore Republican. Those days are over. I don't know. I don't know what the future of either party looks like. We can sit here and debate. It's useless because there is no candidate in the future. Not yet.
Yeah.
What terrifies me is no matter who wins the election, it's bad for us, the normal people, the 99 percenters.
Yeah.
You look at either candidate and there's no real upside there. There's no real upside there. Honest to goodness, they're both old men that are multimillionaires that lob insults back and forth at each other. How is that helping with the cost of living? How is that helping with getting the real estate market moving, which now is probably into 2027?
Mm-hmm.
How is that helping any of us live a better quality of life? It's not. And neither one of these candidates is capable of doing that. And we can sit here and you can espouse for your guy and you can espouse for your guy. And I'm telling you, neither one of them is my guy.
Yeah.
I don't have a candidate. And the thing that I got out of that debate is I feel more hopeless than I ever have before.
And I have to say, I didn't really appreciate the spinning of it either. Like, I didn't love the fact that the explanation for how bad that was for Joe was, hey, I had a bad night. Because it was very clearly not that you had a bad night. It was very clearly that you're too old to be doing this job, with all due respect. And it bothers me that that's what they like, not only Joe Biden's camp, but like Obama tweeted, like all these guys in the party, former and current, tweeted, oh, he just had a bad night. Well, unfortunately, I don't believe you.
And you're not allowed to have a bad night here.
Yeah. Like, come on.
My struggle is, and I don't care if you're on Biden's side or Trump's side.
Yeah.
They're too fucking old. At what point do we say that in your late 70s and early 80s is too fucking old to represent me, and I'm 51?
Yeah.
Let alone a 20-something or a 30-something. At what point do we start to understand that we can't educate people or keep people healthy in our country? At what point do we understand that our tax system, like you look at the way taxes work in this country, it is set up to benefit the rich, not the poor.
Yeah.
At what point do we say we have to do something to raise the masses, not the elites? But we can't do that because these two guys are so old and out of touch with anybody that is making six figures even.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why we want to sit here and fight and defend, and this guy's better than this guy or that guy, or no, they're not, because neither one of them is good for us.
Yeah.
And we can sit here and talk about how bad Joe Biden was, and he was bad. He wasn't bad because he wasn't well prepared. He was bad because he's too fucking old to do the job.
100%.
The guy can't process. But you flip the coin, Trump can't process either. Do you guys understand the narrative coming out of this debate was not how Trump dominated Biden? What was the narrative? That Joe Biden is too old. It wasn't that Trump dominated or Trump had a great performance, because he didn't.
Yeah, and I think even on the Republican side of the coverage, like, you know, anytime there's like a debate or like a political happening, I always like to see the contrast between a Democratic-leaning network and a Republican-leaning network, because I think that's, you need to see both sides. And I was pleasantly surprised to see Fox News saying, yeah, like, if the Dems had someone who was younger and could debate, this probably wouldn't have gone well for Donnie. But because they don't, it did. And that's why I'm saying, like, when you have the Democratic side and the Republican side of the coverage essentially agreeing on stuff, you know that we're in a bad spot. And I was watching the debate sitting in Kansas City. I'm like, damn, dude, like, I knew what I was getting with Joe in this debate. Like, obviously, I didn't expect this guy to come off as the best speaker we've ever heard in a debate, of course. But to be that bad, like, to be
lost,
just incapable.
Yeah, you're lost,
like, unable. And
the hard part is that the alternative, that if Donald Trump had been really sharp and dominant, okay, it's a different conversation. He wasn't. We don't have a candidate. And it's so shocking to see that this generation of politician, and call them what you want, call them baby boomers or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
It's time to move on. Like, we have got to get the Gen Xer and the millennial. And really, it's, in my opinion, it's the millennials.
Yeah.
We've got to get millennials engaged in politics again. But they're not engaged in politics at all because of the vitriol and the anger and the unbelievably negative connotations around being a politician now. Like here in Utah, our Republican governors had their primary, and Spencer Cox, the governor, the current sitting governor, dominated. Like, I mean, in a runaway. It wasn't even. Yeah. What did his opponents say? I don't believe the results. It was a rigged election. I want a recount and an investigation. Really? Really? You got your ass kicked. And it must have been a rigged election. Can we stop with the rigged election bullshit?
Yeah.
Can we just say that, hey, people went to the ballot box and you got your ass beat?
Yeah.
Go away, right? But that's not who we are in politics anymore. And what we've done is we've now made it so that the younger generations have nobody to gravitate to. They have nobody to relate to. They have nobody that speaks their language and says, hey, we understand that there's a housing situation where you as a millennial cannot afford and really don't have an avenue to home ownership. We don't have people saying that because we don't tell the truth in this country. And we have two candidates for president who all they do is lie through their teeth. Did you guys see the fact check out of this debate? That Donald Trump and Joe Biden lied straight to our face.
Repeatedly.
It's wild that we just don't tell the truth. And so here we are in an election cycle where we're quite literally talking about the existence of the United States of America as we've all known it for the last 10 years. And no matter who wins this election, we are doomed.
Mm-hmm.
We, as young people, you are doomed. As somebody that's 50 years old, I'm doomed. No matter who wins this election, financially, growing personal wealth, like doomed. And the best part is nobody's talking about the lack of education and what it's doing to the millennial generation now. We went through this cool Gary V's the best cycle where, well, you don't have to go to college, yet you can't speak properly. You don't understand thought processing. You don't understand decision making and thought processing and the ability to write correctly. How many times a day do you get an email where a 30-year-old doesn't know the difference between TO and TOO? There and there. And why is that? Because they never went to college. So it's really cool that Gary V's telling you. That's really neat. But now, when you're becoming an adult and you're having to, I don't know, move out of your mom's home, because now we have the median age is creeping very quickly up to 30 years old. You still live in mom's house.
It's crazy, dude.
Now, when you're having to move out and you've got to sign a contract that says you're going to pay rent and you have to make practical, good decisions, and you can't do that because you didn't even go to 2 years of junior college to learn critical thinking. Oh, but I learned on the streets, Marty. Hey, that's cool and everything.
Yeah.
But your life is fucked because you can't write, because you can't think, because you can't make decisions, because we so devalued education, because most high school seniors can't afford a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
So now we have these 30-year-olds who can't critically think, read, or write at an elite level, who want nothing to do with politics and are turned off to ways of life that will help them down the road. So what's happening as a result of that? Poor decision-making. Debt is rising. Like everybody talks about, oh, Joe Biden's fault. It's not Joe Biden's fault debt is rising. It's our fault. We in society, and really my generation, we told kids it's okay, you don't have to go to college. You better go and do something. But if I could go back again, I would absolutely force you to go to junior college for 2 years in critical thinking, and because you need that. You absolutely need the ability to think critically, and we can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. Millennials don't do that. We don't do it. And I don't know how you fix it, dude. Like we are at a point where some way, somehow, we've got to find a way to get 15-year-olds to give a shit about politics. And that's at the the high school 8th grade through your senior year of teaching civics, teaching actual history. We got to stop burning books and like vilifying libraries.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably too far past it. Fat Jesus, hello. Millennials are not involved in politics because they don't think they should have to run. They should just get the position because they want it. Oh, tongue in cheek a little bit, but how true is that?
I think there's a lot of that there's all kinds of, it started with millennials. Now it's worse with Gen Z, like where, you have, like Gen Z, there was a study we talked about a month ago. I remember where, Gen Z just like will get job interviews and just straight up not show up. Like you'll get them scheduled, you'll put
bring
the effort
mom
in,
with you,
or you'll bring mom with you, or like, and it just is, I don't know, man. I think that, I don't disagree with what you're saying with the college thing and with Gary Vee. I think the issue was that obviously, hey, you don't have to go to college, but I think that the part that clearly was missed was, what are you going to do instead? Because that's what the conversation was supposed to be like. Hey, if you're not going to do this, then you have to do that. It can't just be not do this and then do whatever you want.
The answer isn't get ready with me videos.
Yeah. And I think that, that's the other part of the internet too, is like, and I think it's what affects our economy so much. Like, we have so many people who, are trying not to have 9-to-5 jobs because they want to make it on the internet. And I get it. And I understand the dream. And I get that. But ultimately, like when you talk about 30-year-olds living in their basement, that's why they live in their mom's basement still, because they're trying to do this thing on the internet that they got the concept from guys like Gary Vee and a plethora of other people. Like, I don't think it's all on him, but he was one of the main voices and still is. But that's why you're still in your mom's basement, because you didn't have the forethought to say, hey, well, at some point I should probably take some ownership over life and like make good enough money to live on my own. And then I can go and like pursue whatever I want. But I don't know. I think that people don't have a strong enough baseline at like literally as people. Like there's so many people out there who are like, yeah, I'm fine living in the basement. That's cool. Like, do you not have any pride in like what you do? Do you not have that like inherent, like, I guess self-respect? I guess that's what we would call that, to say like, yeah, that's not going to be good enough.
I think until we get younger people who don't base their decision-making on Bibles or books, I think we're going to struggle. I really think that it's going to be a tough road to hoe. And the biggest problem for me is with Biden and Trump, they just don't represent who we are. That's not America.
Yeah.
And that way of demeaning and devaluing other humans, that's not who we are.
And I think that was what we just got a heavy dose of that in that debate of name calling and like disrespecting each other. And I would really encourage people, seriously. I don't care where you are aligned politically, right? I don't care if you're a Dem, Republican, whatever. I don't care.
It doesn't
go
matter.
back and look at what the political climate was like between 2008 during the housing crisis and 2012, and look at how much respect there was for each other, how much effort was put into, hey, like, we're going to come, like, again, in that video, we're going to come out, we're going to shake hands, and we're going to be cordial, and we're going to respect each other. These two didn't shake hands. And I'm not saying that's more on one than the other. It's on both of them. There is not a mutual respect for each other. And this is what you talk about all the time. We don't like each other. We don't
like our neighbors. And I think the other part of this thing is we in this current political climate want to have Trump be the villain and Biden's the hero. They're both villains.
Do you think Joe Biden hasn't done shady stuff?
Do you think Joe? No, it's not even that they've done shady stuff. Every politician who's a career politician, listen, you can't look at either one of these guys and feel good about them being our president. And until we get to a point where we can have open, honest discussion with converging viewpoints, there's just nothing to talk about. We're going to choose between a guy that is a convicted felon and a dude who doesn't know what day of the week it is to be our president.
And as much as that is an exaggeration, I don't feel like it is. Like,
it's the reality of it.
Yeah.
It is crazy to me. And we can sit here and we can joke. It's July 1st. There's no replacing Joe Biden. You're not doing that on July 1st, man. And oh, by the way, who are you going to replace him with?
Yeah.
Who is it? I don't know. There is no other candidate. There is no hero we deserve. We're going to pick between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and we're all going to be worse off because of it.
Yep.
Because either guy wins the election, it is terrible. It is terrible that Dakota Tubbs. What happened to blanket statement all millennials? I remember when I got ripped for that. It's
very clear.
It is. It depends on how you're saying all millennials. There is no question that the millennial generation struggles to be engaged, struggles to be active in community engagement, struggles to be a willing participant in day-to-day life. That's just the plight. And my generation made it possible. I believe that Gen X is largely responsible for the plight of millennials. But millennials are also facing a very difficult. Isaiah Hartenstein is going to sign with the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's crazy. It's very difficult to unwind the watch for millennials now. It's very difficult.
Dakota, listen, man. You've been, with all due respect, bro, you've been on your high horse and you've been a red ass for like the last 3 weeks. So, I'm not going to get into some pissing match with you over you got ripped and now, like, cool. That's where you want to live today. Great. But the reality is, for the conversation's sake, I just don't think millennials have the motor to outwork the problems. And that's what it takes. You have to be, like, we had this debate in our members only group. And if you're not in the members only group, I would highly encourage it. Great group of people. Like, we have awesome discussions in there. 99% of the time it's sports. 1% of the time it's everyone being assholes to each other over a debate. But it's a great group of people.
It is.
But I think the issue is that millennials don't have the motor to outwork the problem. Like, you don't have the want to go out and do what has to be done. And obviously, as humans, some days are worse than others. Like, there are some days where my want to is not nearly as high as other days. That's going to happen. But generally speaking, as a generation, millennials want it easy. And we're not in a time where it's easy. We don't my girlfriend's, parents are obviously a baby boomer generation, I believe it is. And they were lucky enough, much like many baby boomers and Gen Xers were lucky enough to get into a situation where you could build a home and you could have a mortgage under $1,000. And that setup is obviously phenomenal. That's great. I'm happy for them. I don't resent them for it. But millennials don't seem to want to accept the fact that that's gone. We don't have that anymore. So instead of accepting that and just outworking the problem and accepting we're not buying a house right now. Like, I can't tell you, the next time I see a millennial couple forcing their way into a 7.5% mortgage won't be the last. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand why we choose to do that. Because I also believe the cute little story that we want to tell millennials of, oh, well, if you rent, you're just giving your money away. And if you buy, you're investing. That's a bunch of crap, dude. Because I'm not going to saddle that debt. I'm not going to take that debt on and be responsible for that home and be stuck under that home.
You won't be able to get out of.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I think it is.
So my point is, millennials won't accept that and won't outwork the issue that is, hey, you got to make more. Like, the other day I saw a thing that said, hey, to net 100K, to bring home 100K in your bank account, it, like, in most states is now like 150, 160 you got to make. Like, that's the reality of our climate. Yeah. So instead of complaining, let's go out and figure out how to do that.
Capazzo says, Monty, you're pointing out the failings of government-run schooling. It's the parents' responsibility for the education of their kids. Jesus. That's absolutely true. But we're not, man.
That's
we have a massive accountability problem. Yeah. There's no doubt. Alex Cooley, there is a culture problem in the U.S. Absolutely there is. We don't like each other.
Yeah.
We've allowed the last 10 years to divide us.
Yeah.
Amongst many different lines. Parents need to have these discussions at the dinner table. There are no more dinner tables. There is a lot of parents these days that are not teaching their kids. I grew up being asked to volunteer during election season.
Yeah.
My parents exposed me to politics every single day. My parents, I wish parents would make their kids watch 60 Minutes every Sunday night. Make them watch 60 Minutes, man.
By the way, the 60 Minutes episode last night going in on Boeing in that situation, dude.
Yep. Dude that abides. Hello. We need to get off this hard right, hard left seesaw ride. No side is going to win in the end. If it's all done out of spite, we tried that some 160 years ago. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Back in the day, it was a dream to become president or a cop or a firefighter. Now too many of the current generation want to be Mr. Beast. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Social media to blame. Social media is an issue. Absolutely. Kay Nurin, hello. The younger voters would come out for free stuff. They would. They would. Absolutely. Oak State James. So will we talk about the new Big 12 tomorrow? Probably not. You also gave us $5 to say July 1st, welcome to the Big 12, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and Arizona State. Thank you to Brett Yormark for making the conference better.
Debatable.
That's debatable. I don't know that is. I don't know that the conference is better. I don't. OG 2028. I hope so.
Dude.
Mr. Downtown. Hey, Monty. I know a lot of pros look at Texas and Florida for no state income tax. However, there is still a jock tax they have to pay. Every city an athlete performs in, they have to pay tax. So state tax, local tax.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. It's both a teacher and parent's job to teach their kids. It's a partnership. I agree with that. 2020 showed us who we really are. I don't disagree. I tell my 20-something kids, the world I grew up in does not exist. You face a different reality, but you have to work hard every day to make your break because talent's not enough anymore.
No.
And I have loved that saying for so long. Talent is not enough. And I don't know that it ever has been. You have to, lazy talent loses every time.
Mm-hmm.
Be less talented and outwork people. Spot on. There's no dinner table in the family.
It's terrible, bro.
There's not.
It is terrible.
There's not. Now, on to bigger and better things. I've moved on from Team Lean and stepped up to a bidet.
No.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
I want a bidet. I am.
So what's it been like so far? Has it been like, did it live up to expectations?
Is it moist?
Like,
dude, I got to tell you, I got off the plane the other day and absolutely destroyed the pot. It was awesome. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Yes, we will talk new Big 12 tomorrow. Happy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We got to talk about bidets now tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. The Monty Show, as always, presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Make sure you check them out. Talk to an injury attorney for free. Live online. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can chat with an attorney anytime you need it. And trust me when I say you get in a car accident, please do not rely on your insurance company because they are not going to do the job for you. They're going to do the job for them. Get what you deserve because you didn't deserve to get in an accident, but you do deserve an advocate. Theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.